This is from the U.S. Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works. Background information on S-787, Feingold Clean Water Restoration Act. Now, this is what the Senate says, because I keep reporting this for the last couple of weeks. People don't believe me. This is their boil down of the bill. Okay? In fact, we've got the new document cam above me. Zoom in on this, and I'm going to read this to folks. Okay, they're amending the Clean Water Act to strike the term navigable waters, whatever it appears, replacing it instead with waters of the United States, which describes it as water puddles, wells, aquifers, and saying that they control the land that any water is on. So total federalization, not just of the water. Erase the distinction between federal and state jurisdiction over waters. I mean, this is total federal government takeover. Impose federal regulation over anything that impounds water, including private lakes, ditches, and dry stream beds that occasionally get wet. And they're now saying they're going to ban ranching. I'm not kidding. The Texas Cattlemen's Association is on record. They already tried this with the wetlands, saying runoff from cattle, from them making, ruts in the ground, that's going to be illegal, and they're going to come fine and fee you without warrants, come on your property. Impose federal regulation over anything that impounds water, including private lakes, ditches, and dry stream beds, and occasionally get wet. Expand regulation from the current focus on discharges to the border activities affecting waters, including the possible regulation of air pollutants. Allow federal controls on limits of the legislative power of Congress under the Constitution. So this is Congress voting to give its authority away to private bureaucrats. And it goes on. This is bigger than Lincoln's power grab. This is bigger. So we got this with the banker reform bill that makes them over. I mean, this is a total takeover, Bob.
It certainly is. One of the things you just slightly referred to in that is the CO2 that's given off by the human waste, animal waste.
No, that too. They want to tax human. You're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's all that cap and trade. And so that's part of that. They've been trying to do that for about 50 years that I can remember.
Yeah, they tried the Wetlands Act harassing everybody, but that got overturned in court. So, yeah, now they're just saying the Attorney General can ban all guns at once if he wants to. Bill introduced, racing through the House. The feds control all water and all property it's on. Congress has no authority. The Federal Reserve rules everything, anything associated with money or the economy, from hot dog stands to movie chains. We rule. I mean, this is it, Bob, is it not?
It certainly is, and the one kink in their armor here is what they said 3 weeks ago. This economic situation is gotten out of control. We have to bring it to a halt, and I don't think they're capable of doing it. And that means more unemployment, never mind all of their stimulus program or even the next stimulus program to come. Unemployment is still going to grow. People are going to lose homes. 3 million people have already lost their homes. And we're going to be looking over the next 3 years at unemployment somewhere in the vicinity of 35 or plus %, maybe as much as 50. And they're not going to be able to control it. And that's why I was speaking earlier about Homeland Security, the federalization of the police, troops showing up in places in remote Montana where they've never seen troops before, and on and on. They're practicing, they're getting ready, and of course InfoWars had a piece on July 27th through 31st, I think it is, when they're going to have these joint maneuvers.
Yeah, they admit with foreign countries to, quote, suppress the American people. I mean, this is not even hidden anymore. And as you said, they're openly federalizing all the police. Army Times says the Army's now going to wage war on the American people. Bob, stay there. I want to get your take on Iran when we get back. Stay with us. This is Alex Jones. Have you heard of the Millionaire Patriot? Well, you should. He has a free handgun and 5 days of firearms training waiting for you. That's right. You can attend 5 days of world-class gun training at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute and secure a 30-state concealed weapons permit, all for pennies on the dollar. Plus, if you act fast, the Millionaire Patriot will give you a free Springfield Armory XD pistol in the caliber of your choice. I believe now is the time that you and your family need to be armed and trained to levels that exceed law enforcement and military standards.
Front Sight provides such training without any boot camp mentality or drill instructor attitudes. This is real. Don't miss out. Secure a Front Sight defensive handgun course, plus a 30-state concealed weapons permit for pennies on the dollar, and get your free handgun. Go to frontsight.com today. That's FRONTSIGHT.com. Go to frontsight.com for your training and free gun.
All right, Bob, you're back with us Friday in the second hour for a full hour in just a couple days. And I've been throwing in all my points here. Bottom line, there's no doubt. This is one of those things that happens every 60, 70, 80 years in society. How they've decided to go ahead and start commandeering the Iranian ships. Iran says they're going to fire nukes in response. As big or bigger than the Cuban Missile Crisis, nobody's even talking about it. Clearly the CIA admits they're staging the Iran problems. And then Obama's on TV lying, saying, we're not involved in Iran. That's crazy. When it's officially admitted. I mean, this is incredible. Where do you see that going? They're moving with water takeovers, total federalization, total banking takeovers of all money industry. I mean, do you agree this is the jump point? Everything we've seen up to here was just a build-up. This is now the final conflagration.
I think you're right. They're pulling it all together. And we've talked about all these points with the exception of Iran. And I was asked to do some programs in regard to Iran and the people who were opposed to what supposedly was a rigged election. And I said no. And they said, why? And I said, because the United States government has a long history of overthrowing governments, and twice in that country, for that matter. And if I had to guess, I would say at this point, and this is before this all got into riots, etc., I would guess that the United States government was behind the whole thing, because it's a matter of fact that they had been in there along with the Mossad with lots of money, stoking these people up, getting ready.
They're on record
sort of
trying to do this exact thing, saying on the news, we're trying to stoke a revolution. Go ahead, Bob.
Exactly. And that's why I passed on it, and I said, no, I think it's the opposite. I think the U.S. government is behind this. And, of course, when you have the president come out and say, well, these people are saying that we're behind this or we're not, of course they are. Otherwise, they wouldn't have said anything.
Well, the last White House and this White House, Obama increased Bush's covert ops for revolution, blowing up mosques, bombing buildings. They admit they do it. I mean, this, and Iran has been taking military attacks launched by the West in there on record. I mean, we post all the mainstream news, and then it comes out, BBC's faking photos that are really people for Ahmadinejad, not for the other guy, faking, they probably shot that woman themselves. I believe they really killed her. It's real video, but that's probably staged the way it's shot. They just walked up and shot her right in the stomach and filmed it. I mean, just absolutely amazing that that's going on. And again, I'm not getting on either side here. This is clearly staged. And then it comes out that this individual, who's claiming he won, announced it hours before the polls lost, saying it had been stolen when the evidence was it wasn't stolen. And then it turns out he was the CIA liaison as the foreign minister of Iran with Iran-Contra. I mean, this guy's a deep cover operative. All the evidence shows that, Bob.
That's right. And so it is an American operation, and they're trying to overthrow the government in Iran, and they're not going to get away with it. I mean, they're just not going to. And I watched a tape on Zbigniew Brzezinski earlier today, and he said that. Did you see that one?
No, I'm sorry, Bob. You're absolutely. I was just saying that's right. I've got the clip. We're just. He says we need to. And he says we need to intelligently manipulate and keep manipulating. He admits they're doing it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, not only that, he says that we got to do this very quickly because time is of the essence, and it's just one of these another one of these color revolutions, as they call them, where they go in and overthrow governments, and this is the latest. And I think they might have bitten off a bit more than they can chew here, because I think what's going to happen now, the people who they paid to do the demonstrations, they've been told, if you keep on doing that and creating violence, we're going to have to retaliate. And what the Republican Guard is saying, you keep it up, you're going to end up getting shot. And so I think this thing is going to simmer down, and the election has been certified. And, you know, the United States is the last country in the world to talk about rigged elections. I mean, I don't want to go into detail, but you know what's happened in our own country. And they're rigging elections all over the world. Look what they just did in Mexico 2 years ago with the election of Calderon. The whole election was stolen. And they do it everywhere.
Unbelievable. Bob Chapman, great points. And yes, here's the chief advisor on foreign policy to Obama saying, yeah, we're in there doing this and we should overthrow them. And they got CIA guys all over going, oh, we should help them. They're running the thing. And then meanwhile, Obama's on TV saying this is preposterous. TheInternationalForecaster.com, our site's Infowars.com. Bob, we'll talk to you Friday.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, talk about the Second Amendment and a lot more. Stay with us.